So today we're going to be talking about securing weapons. So it doesn't matter whether it's a gun or a knife, but I'm going to be using an example of a knife this time. So sometimes you're going to be running into situations where you have somebody who's injured, or somebody who was unconscious and they have a weapon on them, or a person in any kind of a professional setting, maybe a police officer or something like that, and they have a holstered weapon or something like that. Or it could be a person who is a criminal and you're able to take the weapon away from them. The whole concept of it is just this idea of securing a weapon, okay? So what you don't want to do, and what I see some people do, is they throw the weapon. So if somebody has a knife, they disarm the person and they throw the weapon. You're throwing a knife. Imagine taking something like this and hurling it into the street. You don't know who you're going to hit with that. You might hit some little kid or something. It's the same thing like shooting a bullet randomly. You don't know who you're going to hit. So that's not the best way to operate. So the best way to operate is to actually secure the weapon either in your pocket, okay? You can put it directly, if you take it like this, okay? You take the weapon. If it has a sheath on, of course, put it directly in your pocket. If it doesn't have a holster on it, you can put it under your hand, under your armpit like that, okay? Now, this is in the old days what used to be done so that you can still use your empty hand in order to do something. So in Pencak Silat Syaraf, this is exemplified here in the Juru Satu. When you come to Juru Satu, you're striking down like this, okay? So Juru Satu looks like that. And then you're coming outwards. So this movement, I'm covering myself over here for slashes and things like that, the concept of using the outer arm in order to protect, but at the end, of course, protecting over here on the neck as well, okay? And the core parts of my body are protected, but at the same time, when I raise up, I can bring a weapon and I can hide it underneath like that. So this can be used on a naked blade, okay? On a naked blade, if you want to hide the blade because they wanted to show only that they're working with empty hands, and then in the middle of the fight, the blade will come out, okay? And you think that you're seeing something up here, but there's actually a hidden blade underneath, okay? So that would be one way. Or if the blade needed to be secured. So the blade is secured underneath over here, and now I can do something over here with my hands. I can lift somebody up, I can pull something, I can open something, I can check a door, I can do whatever I need to do. If I need to carry somebody, for example, if I want to drag somebody away quickly, I can secure the weapon like this so that I don't leave it for them, okay? Because if they wake up and they see me and I'm there, they might think that I'm the enemy, but I'm not. I'm there trying to help them. So that's a problem when people are unconscious. But if they're conscious, they can hold their weapon and help you. They can either shoot or they can hold the knife, that's fine. But if they're not conscious, don't leave them with a weapon. And if I need to drag the person out quickly and I want to secure the weapon, but I don't want to leave it for somebody else to take and maybe use against me, right? So basically what we would do is we would secure the weapon, then we would be able to take the person and drag the person out of that situation. So that is one example of how that would be used. In a combat situation, the weapon would be used from a hidden position. It would be empty-handed, you would see, and then from a hidden position, it would be taken out, and then it would be used in the fight, okay? But you would see, and you would be distracted by the hands on the high line. But these things would be hidden there at the other side, underneath the armpit. But that is just one example from traditional Pencak Silat, how we execute the use of the armpit with the blade. So basically, as you saw from the video, there are two things here which we're looking at. The combative aspect of things is where we're looking at how to actually secret away the weapon so that we can present it into a combat situation from the perspective of an adversary where we don't have a weapon. It looks like we're going empty-handed. And this is really important because half of what we're doing all the time is deception or surprise attacks. That's really what it is in real life. You're looking at deception, you're looking at surprise attacks. Any kind of head-on type of attack where go all out and you want to go the Rambo style, you usually end up injuring yourself or getting yourself into worse problems than you were before. We want to make sure that we are sneaky as possible and that we take every advantage that we have in order to overcome an adversary with as little risk to ourselves as possible. That's the key thing here. It's not a question about being a hero. It's about minimizing risk and managing risk properly. In the real world, it's risk management and resources that are important. What kind of resources can you bring to bear in a situation? And what kind of risk management do you understand, considering the resources that you have and the risk level that you're willing to go to in order to achieve a specific goal? It's not so much strategy. Strategy is very grand and it's a beautiful thing people like to talk about. But reality and when it comes to the actual nuts and bolts of conflict, the more important thing is to understand how to manage your risk when you want to decide to enter into a situation. And that's basically what you're seeing here. So in order to minimize the risk as much as possible, we always look for surprise attack opportunities, and we always look for deception more than anything else, because head-on conflict means a lot of problems and a lot of risk. So that's the first thing when it comes to traditional Pencak Silat, the way the thinking goes. Okay, so a lot of people think that it's head-on, man-to-man. Not at all. We actually prefer to have man against nobody because I'm not even there. That's a very, very good way. Or man against deception, or man against surprise attack, which you never knew where it's coming from. That's a better option in the thinking process of traditional Pencak Silat. The second leg that we see in over here in this example, and this is all coming from Juru Satu. Juru Satu is the first Juru in Pencak Silat Syaraf. And the second leg we see here is basically to understand how to secure the weapons. Now, every time you have to figure out how to secure the weapon. If you take the weapon away from your adversary, you can use the weapon against them, yes, but you cannot allow the weapon to just be placed somewhere so that they can get it, or one of their buddies can get it, or somebody else can have access to that weapon. So you want to make sure that if you use the weapon against the person after, the weapon is in your possession, or that the weapon is secured, and then you use your empty hands if you want, or you want to de-escalate the level because the person maybe they're drunk, maybe it's a minor. Okay, I've had situations where minors have used weapons against me. You don't want to escalate that level of force. You want to de-escalate it as quickly as possible. I've had situations where drunk people use weapons against me. The same thing. You want to de-escalate the level of force because the person is intoxicated. So when you de-escalate, that weapon has to be secured somehow because the person might still be fighting you. So when you disarm them, what do you do with the gun? Or the knife? You're just going to throw it down? What if they hit you and then they go and grab the weapon again? You don't want to do that. Or somebody who is connected with them takes the weapon. Or God forbid, a child or somebody else in the vicinity who thinks you're the aggressor takes the weapon and tries to use it against you. Okay, you never know. Anything can happen in these kind of situations. You cannot discount the insanity that can happen when people look at something like this happening in front of them, and the way that people react. Sometimes you cannot calculate, especially if this is a friend or family member and they see this happening. You don't know how they will react. That's why domestic situations are so dangerous, because we do not know how a person will react when they see a family member or loved one in a situation of conflict. What will happen? Okay, you walk in and you see something like that. So you have to be very careful when it comes to that situation. So always secure the weapon. Keep that in mind. So this is a key thing to remember. Secure the weapon, make sure the weapon is placed away. The traditional way is like this. It's the old style Pencak Silat. If you have other ways to do it, you can put it in your back pocket if that's conducive to the gear that you're wearing, or in your pocket, or whatever it is, whatever you think is safer for you in that situation, so that the weapon cannot be accessed by the adversary or by another person that you don't want to access. Give access to this weapon. Okay, so I hope that is useful for everybody. I hope you learned something from it, and I'll see you again next week.